What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Clemson Tiger Wire podcast. Hey, we're glad you're joining us. We are coming to you live. We're just going to talk and not hold anything back. We just finished up the Wake Forest game, and so this episode we're going to talk about what we thoughts from that game were. We're also going to talk about just overall Clemson's team, how the schedule was, how our team went this season. We just finished up our regular season, so we're heading into the ACC tournament, and we'll talk about that in a second. But first off, let's talk about this Wake Forest game. Watching this game, I kind of have mixed reactions, right? So part of me is like, that's something you can't be mad at. Wake Forest is a good team. They shot the ball excellent tonight. I think Wake Forest, they ended up shooting the ball 58% compared to Clemson's 46%. 3-point percent, they shot 42%. We shot 34%. You can't be mad about that. They just shot the ball really well. But there's parts of this game where it's like, really? Really? It was just rough. But, when you're thinking about the game, I guess a big thing to think about would be, what does it really mean to the teams? When you're looking at Wake Forest, it means a lot for that team. They're on a bubble team. They might not make the NCAA play or the NCAA tournament. You're thinking, if you're Wake Forest, you got to make the NCAA tournament. In order for you to make that, you've got to win tonight, which they did. And then you have to go on, and you probably got to win 2 at least, maybe 3 in the ACC tournament in order to make it into the March Madness. So they're playing for their life, right? Clemson, we're playing for the double bye. We're playing for luxuries. We're playing for a better seed in the tournament. We're already in. So I think motivation-wise, Wake Forest definitely had motivation. It was their senior night as well, so I think that was a big factor of it. But honestly, coming out the gate, Clemson looked slow. P.J. Hall had 2-3 points in the first half. He ended up scoring a lot right later on, but after the first half, it was rough. Looking at the box score, though, really, we had good players. Players played well. Jack Clark is still my MVP. I think he is the best player for Clemson this season. When I say that, I don't mean he's the most talented. I think his influence and his impact on the game matters more than everyone else's. For my backup, we are now 10-2 when he starts. We've only lost 2 games that he started all year, compared to P.J. Hall, who started every game, and we've lost 10. So that's what I say when I mean that. If you say, oh, well, we played more games with P.J. Hall. Okay, we've won 21 games when P.J. Hall won. He's played 31 games. Jack Clark has started 12 games. So times that by 2.5, and he's lost 5 games rather than 2. So yeah, that's still half of what P.J. Hall. So my point there is valid. But when you're going through the player stats, I think the biggest problem was Hunter Salas at 22 points, which he's going to score. But Carr, where did Carr come from for Wake Forest? Scoring 17 points, shooting 6 for 7. Marsh has 3 points in the past 3 games and comes out tonight and shoots 3 for 3, 7 points. I think tonight you look at Wake's team, and it's a night where everybody was hitting, right? Tonight's a night where everyone's hitting, all the success is there. They're doing everything they need to do. They're making their shots. They're doing what they have to do. So I think that's why Wake came out and win. I'll be honest, my biggest disappointment in this game wasn't even the fact we lost, it was how we lost. I felt like the refs were just out there just to be out there. I feel like they were wanting attention. They were making the stupid calls. They made call both ways. I'm not arguing that they made the calls one way or not the other, but the calls they made were so dumb. They would call one foul that wasn't a foul, then come down and PG would get tripped up and kicked, and they wouldn't call anything. Chase Hunter got dead-legged. They didn't call anything, but then they called travel, and it just... Refs are terrible. If you're one of the 3 refs watching this, I doubt you are. But if you are, very disappointed in you. You should be disappointed. That was a pitiful performance. Both ways. Not even Clemson ways. You called, I think it was 17-14 fouls. It was a very close game called. I'm not saying that, but overall, the calls you made is really? That's what you're doing? That's how you're going to do this? But anyway, so when you're looking at the Wake game, I don't want to dive too much into this because it's at the end of the day, it's one regular season loss that we lost to a good team at home on their senior night. Biggest performances for me, Chase Hunter had 17 points. He only shot 5 for 10. He started off 0 for 4 from the 3 and then made his last 2. Wish that could have stepped up earlier. Chase Hunter PJ Hall had 18 points, so he scored 15 in the second half, which is always good to see. Joe Girard had a quiet night. He only made 2 threes, shot 25% from the 3, only had 14 points. Ian Shefflin, that's my surprise. Ian Shefflin, following Tuesday at Syracuse, he went 16 and 16. Went 16 points, 5 for 5 from the field, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, had 16 points and 16 rebounds. Tonight, had 5 points and 6 rebounds. Hate to see it. Jack Clark played excellent, 4 for 5, 2 for 3 from the 3, 10 points, had 3 rebounds, but played really good defense, had 2 steals. PJ Hall had 3 steals, so that was good to see. I think we had good bench presence. We had 12 bench points this year, which is more than what we get almost every other game. Dylan Hunter was quiet, 0 for 1. Josh Beadle only at 1-1. Chauncey Wiggins, 2 for 3. RJ Godfrey, 2 for 2. So overall, I'm going to move on from this game. We're not going to spend too much time talking about this one because at the end of the day, it's a regular season game. We lost a tough game on the road. Last thing I'll say about this game is going into it, we said there was 3 keys to the game. We said, 1, you got to win the rebound battle. You've got to do that. In order for us to win, you have to win the rebounds. You look at the game, we lost this, and we lost the rebound battle. We won offensive, but they smoked us defensive. We lost by 3, or 2. So we lost the rebound battle. That was my first key of the game, and we lost it, and we lost the game. So that lines up. Number 2 is you've got to limit turnovers. We did all right there. We had 10 turnovers. They had 13, but we still had double-digit turnovers. So had to limit turnovers. We kind of did that. I'd put a question mark. My third key to the game was to stop Hunter Salas, was to cool him off, shut him down a little bit, and we gave up 22 points to him. So my keys to the game proved to be true. The 3 things that I said we had to do, we didn't do. I said Hunter Salas had to get his season average or lower, and he beat his season average. So that explains why we lost. So moving forward, what I want to talk about now is I want to talk about briefly, we're going to go quick, and I'll be honest with you, we're going to go this fast because I really want to watch this the end of this Pitt-NC State game because that's a huge game. We'll talk about the season for Clemson, and we're only going to briefly talk about this. We'll talk about it more later on in a different episode, but I think overall in this season we're 21-9. I think, yes, we won 20-plus games, which is good. I think you got to be disappointed in the season. We started the game 10-1, and then we go in the ACC play. We go 11-8. You cannot be happy with 11-8. Excuse me, am I wrong? 11-9. Yeah, 11-9. We lost 10 games this year, so you can't be happy with 11-9. That's rough. That's rough. You can't be doing that, especially we lost 4 games on home. 4 games on our home court. When I think of the biggest games that make me maddest, talking about the Clemson Wake game, that doesn't really make me that mad. What makes me mad is the double overtime at home to Georgia Tech, giving up a buzzer beater to NC State at home, and then whatever that garbage was call against Duke in the last seconds at Duke. So I think overall, I know we're going into the ACC tournament in a different spot. I'll tell you, we'll talk about that in the episode, but 21-9, 21-10. I don't think you're happy with that. Leading stats, PJ Hall's our leading scorer. Big surprise. Ian Shefflin almost averaged 10 rebounds. Almost had it at 9.7. Chase Hunter, 2.9 assists. So we didn't have one player averaging 3 assists. That hurts. Steals PJ Hall, blocks PJ Hall. Joe Girard, I thought he'd have a bigger presence for us. Honestly, I know we have a lot of scores, but he only averaged 15.8 points this season. I thought that would be higher. Ian Shefflin has been the most improved player for me. He did excellent. Biggest disappointments, in my opinion, would be Joe Girard isn't the biggest, but he's up there. Chauncey Wiggins, I thought was going to be better. Chauncey Wiggins, I thought would be a lot better this year. He only averaged less than 6 points. So he would be one of my biggest disappointments. Jack Clark would be my biggest surprise. Him coming out and playing how he did defensively and rebound. In my opinion, if you're looking at the season, if you're looking at this ACC season and this Clemson season, Jack Clark should get the MVP of this year. Like we talked about, he should be the MVP of this season. He's played excellent, played really well. I hate that we're not getting him back next year, but hopefully that'll do well. And the last thing we want to talk about, and this episode we're going to keep short because we'll put out another episode Monday that'll a little bit more detail. But the last thing we want to talk about is how the ACC tournament. And so how that's going to work, I'm really nervous about this. So right now with us losing, it comes down to two things. It comes down to one thing, what seed we have. It comes down to that NC State and Pitt game. If NC State wins, if you're listening to this and the Wolfpack won, look, Anthony, this is for you. Tonight I'm pulling for him. If Wolfpack wins, we got the 4 seed. So let's go Wolfpack. If Pitt wins, we've got the 6 seed. So that's the thing. You can't say that this team with all the talent that we had, you're happy that it comes down to another team winning if we get the 4 or the 6. That's terrible. That is terrible. This year, and I know it's not over, we could make a deep run ACC and they would slap me in the face. We could make a run in March Madness, slap me in the face. I think with the amount of talent that this team has, for us to be sitting at 4th or 6th place is a huge disappointment. So ACC tournament should be good. Kicks off Tuesday. We're going to have a long episode on Monday walking through that. We're also going to have an episode every single day next week talking about what our thoughts were from that game's day. So on Tuesday, we're going to walk through those first couple games. Clemson will not be playing in those. Wednesday, we'll talk about those games. Clemson might be playing those. Wolfpack, come on. Don't let us. If Wolfpack wins, we get the double bye. Then Thursday, we will talk through what Thursday's games look like. And same with Friday. So we'll have an episode every day next week. It might not be video. Some of those might be audio only. But yeah, it should be good. We're excited about that. Excited about the ACC tournament coming up soon. And then March Madness quickly after that. But that's going to be it for this episode of the Clemson Tiger Wire podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for joining us. Sorry we were a little all over the place today. Just emotions are high, ready to get back in. Excited to see where we land in that ACC tournament. So should be good. But hey, that's going to be it. Make sure you join us on Monday for a full-length episode that'll come out late Monday night, early Tuesday. Excited about that as we kick off the ACC tournament. Remember, episode every night next week, so it's going to be great. Excited for that. But hey, that's going to do it. We can't wait to see you next time. Make sure you follow us over on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as keep listening to podcasts. Make sure you rate us, give us 5 stars. That would be huge. Subscribe on YouTube, all that jazz, all that fun. But hey, we can't wait to see you next time. Until then, keep that Tiger pride alive and roaring. And as always, go Tigers.